If you're planning a first-time trip to Iceland, this is the itinerary you're going to want to steal. Now, Iceland is one of the most awe-inspiring destinations on the planet, and it can be hard to narrow down which stops to put on your 10-day trip. I've been visiting Iceland for over a decade, so don't worry if you're new to the planning process. I am going to walk you through each day, stop by stop, with all of the tips, tricks, and insider advice that you will need. By the end of this video, you will feel totally confident and excited to book the Iceland trip of your dreams. Are you ready? Let's get started. To begin your itinerary, you are going to be flying into Keflavik Airport. This is the main airport in Iceland, and it's located about 45 minutes outside of Reykjavík, which many people don't realize. This is also where you will pick up your rental car, which, yes, you will need to rent a car to complete this 10-day Iceland itinerary. Many people wonder whether they should rent a four-wheel drive car, and I will tell you that a 4x4 vehicle is not necessary to drive the entire Ring Road, also known as Route 1. The roads here in Iceland are very easy to drive and well-maintained. That being said, you will need a 4x4 to complete one of the stops on this itinerary, but I will provide an alternative in case you just want to rent a two-wheel drive. Many flights arrive into Iceland super early, and I like to hit the ground running so I have a full day to explore. You're going to say goodbye to Keflavik Airport and start the drive down the Reykjavík Peninsula to begin your day. Reykjavík Peninsula is where there has been a lot of volcanic activity in Iceland, so you might get lucky and see a volcano erupting as you drive by. Now, you should always follow local regulations when trying to see volcanoes, as they are very dangerous and not always safe for tourists to visit. Then we're going to start the day by driving the Golden Circle, which is the most famous drive in Iceland. It is 140 miles or 230 kilometers round trip, and there are so many stops to see. Now, you can choose to drive the Golden Circle in both winter or summer, and you do not need a 4x4 vehicle. Our first stop of the day is Thingvellir National Park, which is one of the main Golden Circle stops and is a place of historical significance and natural beauty. It's also been named a UNESCO World Heritage Site and marks the location of Iceland's first parliament, formed in 930 AD. This is also where you would go on a silverfisher snorkeling tour if you wanted to snorkel between the Eurasian and North American tectonic plates. I'm also going to take a moment to apologize for my Icelandic pronunciations throughout this video. I've done my research and tried my best, but I do truly apologize in advance. After you're done exploring Thingvellir, hop in your car and continue 45 minutes down the Golden Circle until you come to Burafoss. This is a total hidden gem that most people miss. You really have to see Burafoss yourself to believe that water can truly be this blue. It is such a unique and captivating waterfall and shouldn't be missed. I wanted to point out that the word foss in Icelandic means waterfall, so when you see foss at the end of the word, it denotes that this is going to be a waterfall that you're visiting. Up next is Strákur Geyser, which you can see erupt every 5 to 7 minutes. This geyser area is one of the busiest and most popular spots in Iceland, but it really is so cool to see eruptions this frequent, making the stop super unique. After you're done enjoying the geysers, it's time to head to Gullfoss, which is the furthest point north on the Golden Circle. It's also the most touristy waterfall in Iceland, but for a good reason, as it's absolutely jaw-dropping. It is a stunning waterfall with 2 tiers of falls and a golden hue on sunny days, hence the name Gullfoss, which means Golden Falls. As we head back down the Golden Circle, I highly recommend a stop at Carrid Crater. This is a vibrant blue lake in a 6,500-year-old volcanic crater with unique red rock. Our final stop of the day is Reykjavík Hot Springs, which is an absolutely incredible 3.8 kilometer or 2.3 mile hike up to a remote thermal hot spring river in the mountains. Now, it takes about 1 to 1.5 hours each way, and the temperature of the river ranges from cooler to so hot that you can't even get in. Keep in mind, there are no changing facilities, but this is a great way to end your first day in Iceland. For day 2 of your trip, I'm going to give you 2 different options. One requires a 4x4 vehicle, while the other does not, but they are both equally incredible in their own ways. We will cover visiting the Icelandic Highlands first, and this includes driving F-roads, which are a type of road in Iceland where it's illegal to drive unless you have a 4x4 vehicle. Visiting the Highlands can also usually only be done in summer or fall due to the accessibility of the roads, so if you're visiting at another time of year, I recommend my second option for day 2 instead. We will start the day by driving into the Highlands. Now, while Iceland looks like another planet everywhere, heading into the Highlands really ups the ante as things get more and more remote. Our first stop will be to visit this incredible canyon known as the Valley of Tears because of all of these waterfalls. Walking along the cliff of this epic canyon will make you feel as if you've stepped into a high fantasy novel. Next up, we're going to visit the coolest place ever, which is a crater with a beautiful blue lake inside. You can drive right up to the edge of the crater, so this is an easy and fast activity to add to your Highlands itinerary. With a little more time, you can also hike to the top of the mountain there, which I can tell you from experience is very tiring, but also worth it. Our final stop of the day is Landmannalaugar. As you head over here, you will pass various volcanic craters, and the drive truly feels like you're on the moon. Once you arrive, there is a river crossing to get into Landmannalaugar, and although you will have a 4x4 for the Highlands, not all 4x4s are created equal. The ones we all rent have much lower clearance, and I would not recommend attempting a river crossing. Many cars get stuck every year, and for your safety, I would avoid it. Instead, I suggest parking before the river crossing and simply crossing the river on foot. This is a very popular area for hiking, so you can park and hike around, or you can relax in Landmannalaugar Hot Springs, which is free and quite large. The Highlands are a truly unforgettable and extremely remote part of Iceland, and if you have the ability, they are totally worth a visit. If you're choosing the second option for day 2 of your itinerary, you are in for a real treat. The Westman Islands are truly one of my favorite places in Iceland, and people skip over them, which is a huge mistake. I am obsessed with this place. You will not regret it. When visiting the Westman Islands, you will take a ferry over from the mainland that takes about 45 minutes. Now, I recommend booking your ferry online in advance because it can sell out, especially if you want to bring your car, which is what I always personally do. Once you arrive, there are so many things to do, from seeing volcanic craters to hiking and even seeing the magical Elephant Rock. If you time your visit correctly, you will even be able to see puffins. I cannot recommend a visit to the Westman Islands enough. The unique windswept beauty of the islands are totally worth it. For the first 2 days of your Iceland itinerary, I recommend staying somewhere in the area between Selfoss and Hella for the most convenient location. No matter where you stay, you will be passing through the town of Hella, and I highly recommend a stop at this local store. This is where I get my Icelandic sweaters, like the one I'm wearing in this video. They are all locally made, and the store is an incredible place for souvenirs. For day 3 of your Iceland road trip, make sure you wake up nice and early, as today is going to be packed full with some of the best spots in the entire country. If I had to pick just one region of Iceland that was my all-time favorite, it would be this part of the south coast. I also want to take a moment to mention that I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make when visiting Iceland is not wearing head-to-toe waterproof gear. Now, the weather in Iceland is unpredictable, and during your trip, you're going to be seeing tons of waterfalls and exploring lots of damp environments. You can get all of this online, and what you buy does not have to break the bank. I'm going to drop my links to exactly what I wear in the description below. Our first stop of the day is Snaefellsnes, which is one of the cooler waterfalls in Iceland because you can walk behind it. This is a popular spot, but it is truly worth a stop. I always like to think that Snaefellsnes is welcoming me to my favorite part of Iceland because, in my opinion, it marks the beginning of the best part of the south coast. Located right next to Snaefellsnes is this incredible hidden waterfall that cannot be seen from the road. You actually have to hike through a small canyon to get to this epic view. Now, unless you are wearing wellies or rain boots or some other kind of really good waterproof shoes, your feet may get wet as you climb on small rocks to try and get inside to see the view. By the way, one of my favorite insider tips is to always bring wellies or rain boots to Iceland so your feet stay 100% dry. Continuing along down the Ring Road, we are going to come to Skaftafell Pool, which is a remote swimming pool hidden smack dab in the middle of spectacular mossy green mountains and fed by a small trickling waterfall. The hike to get out there is flat and it takes about 20 to 30 minutes each way. The pool is warmed by geothermal activity, but please keep in mind that these small changing facilities are quite dirty and there are no bathrooms. I've swam in this pool before and I don't really recommend swimming here because it is kind of chilly, the water is not that warm, but I do suggest the hike out to see this beautiful location. Your next stop is Skaftafell, which is my favorite waterfall in all of Iceland. When I look at this waterfall, I think I have arrived, and it is just absolutely spectacular. Skaftafell is a majestic, easy to get to waterfall, and you can even hike up to the top. Don't forget to walk up close to the base of this waterfall to really feel the power of this location. I wanted to mention another mistake in Iceland to avoid, and that would be spending your money on bottled water. The tap water in Iceland is pristine, and you can even drink from natural sources. Bringing a reusable water bottle on your trip is a great way to save money. There's also a campground at Skaftafell in case you're doing this itinerary in a camper van. Please keep in mind that it is illegal to wild camp in Iceland, and you must always stay in designated campgrounds. While you're here, you can't miss Kvernafos, which is located conveniently on the same road as Skaftafell. There is a small hike to get here that takes about 20 minutes each way before you arrive at a stunning waterfall in a canyon. You can also walk behind Kvernafos, which provides another beautiful and unique perspective. After you've seen plenty of waterfalls, it is time for our first glacier of the trip. Welcome to Skaftafell, which is super easy to access from the Ring Road. I like walking the short hike to the base of this glacier to marvel at the lagoon, but you can also book tours to actually walk on the glacier. Never try to walk on the glaciers without a certified guide for safety reasons. Next up, we're heading to Dyrhólaey, which is an epic viewpoint over the vast black sand beaches below. This perspective is so unique, and this place must be on your list. The name means Door Hill Island, and yes, there is indeed a massive arch that you can see from above. If you love panoramic views, then this is the stop for you. Up next, you are going to visit Reynisfjara Black Sand Beach, which is the most famous and recognizable beach in Iceland. This means it can get super crowded with tour buses, but I stop here at least once every visit. The signature basalt rock columns are really unique to see, especially how they contrast with the black sand beach beneath them. Reynisfjara is quite a large beach with various caves that you can explore at low tide. This beach is very dangerous with sneaker waves, so be safe and don't get too close to the water. Please heed the warnings and never turn your back on the ocean. Finally, I recommend exploring the town of Vik, where you can't forget a stop to the famous red-roofed church perched high on a hill above the city. If you've ever seen a photo of Vik, you will have probably seen this church. It's very recognizable. This is also a great viewpoint to the small town below, along with the black sand beach in the distance. Vik is also a great place to stock up on groceries, and one of my biggest tips for traveling Iceland on a budget is to go grocery shopping. Restaurant prices here are very expensive, and eating out for every meal for 10 days really adds up. Instead, finding accommodations with kitchens so you can cook your own food really is the way to go. Grocery stores in Iceland are a great way to try some yummy local foods and often have a variety of options. My favorite road trip snack is this popcorn, and you will not regret trying it. It is in almost every grocery store throughout the country. For day 3, I recommend staying somewhere between Hella and Vik, but closer to Vik if possible. My favorite location to stay on the south coast is called the Garage Apartments, and I am convinced that this is the best location in all of Iceland. It is located in the heart of the south coast. Book your accommodation for day 3 as early as possible, as this area fills up quickly and gets expensive, especially during high season. Day 4 marks the beginning of what I call the driving portion of this itinerary. Yes, we have been doing lots of driving every day, but starting from today, we are going to be doing even more and through stunningly desolate and beautiful landscapes across the east and north of Iceland. Please keep in mind that the rule of thumb for driving in Iceland is to fill up your gas early and often. There are not that many gas stations throughout Iceland, so if you see one, I highly recommend filling up your tank. It is better to be safe than sorry. Our first stop of the day is to explore an absolutely spectacular lava field. You will see tons of these fields as you drive around Iceland, but this is easily the best place to stop and see them up close. My biggest travel tip for Iceland is do not stand or walk on the moss. It is fragile and it can take hundreds of years to grow back, and I do not hear this talked about enough. Please always stay on the path and do not damage the landscape. Our next stop is to hike along the rim of one of the most jaw-dropping canyons in Iceland. It is said that this canyon is over 2 million years old. How cool is that? Make sure to stay on the trail to respect the fragile moss and the landscape of this majestic canyon. Once you're done exploring, head just 20 minutes down Route 1 and visit this total hidden gem that I've never even seen anyone else stop at while I'm there. This is basically an incredible canyon consisting of hexagonal basalt columns, and it's so unique. In English, the name translates to dwarf cliffs because there are so many myths and local legends of dwarves and elves living among the basalt. Just a few short minutes away from the cliffs, you will come across this beautiful roadside waterfall. It is totally worth a visit and absolutely stunning. This is a quick stop, but a very unique and lovely waterfall nonetheless. Another Iceland travel tip I wanted to add is to never stop in the middle of the road to take photos. Iceland is super photogenic. There are so many places to see, but always pull over so that you're fully off the road in order to take any pictures. Next up, we're heading deep into Skaftafell National Park to visit Skaftafell waterfall. This is a 3.5-mile round-trip hike to a 65-foot waterfall surrounded by black organ pipe basalt rocks. You will also pass 2 smaller waterfalls on your way. After our hike, it's time for something a little different. Hofskarka Church is a turf church built to withstand Iceland's unpredictable weather. There are only a few turf houses and churches located in Iceland, which is why this quick but unique stop is definitely worth it. Our final stop of day 4 is to visit one of the coolest canyons in Iceland. Now, in order to get here, you have to drive off the Ring Road on a small, hardly recognizable dirt road for about 5 minutes until you reach the parking area. Once you arrive, you will hike a moderately difficult trail for roughly 1.5 miles to reach the canyon. This place truly looks like Jurassic Park. It is absolutely incredible. When visiting, please do not stray from the trail or trample on the fragile moss. For day 5, we are going to continue exploring the rugged beauty of Southeast Iceland while seeing some of the most jaw-droppingly beautiful sights you will ever see in your entire life. I also wanted to take a moment to caution you against trying to do too much in one trip. This itinerary is packed with tons of fantastic activities, but please do not spread yourself too thin. Everything I'm sharing here is just meant to be a guide, and I highly recommend that you add or subtract from it as needed to fit your own comfort levels. We are going to start the day strong at Farsalawn Glacier Lagoon. Now, this is the lesser known of the 2 glacier lagoons in the area, but I think it might be my favorite. The cascading glacier behind the lagoon is so magnificent, and it's also much less crowded. They're both worth a stop, but this one is really going to blow you away. Next up, we're going to visit Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon, which is the most famous and well-known lagoon in Iceland. It is located just 15 minutes away from Farsalawn, which is where we just were. Now, this lagoon is quite large, and you can see seals and other wild animals swimming throughout. If you want, you can also take a guided boat tour or go kayaking through the icebergs. Despite it being more crowded, it is totally worth a stop because it's famous for a reason. Just across the Ring Road from Jökulsárlón is a spectacular spot called Diamond Beach. Now, Diamond Beach is a black sand beach with pure ice chunks and crystals scattered throughout. I cannot get over the contrast of the glistening ice with the black sand beneath it. It is truly one of the best things you will ever set eyes on in your entire life. Continuing down Route 1, we come to Snaefellsnes and Vesturhorn Mountain, which is one of Iceland's most striking areas. Think jagged mountains with sprawling black sand beach beneath them. There is even a perfect reflection here when the tide is low. If you want to drive out to the Snaefellsnes Peninsula, and I recommend that you do, it is going to cost you a few dollars at the Viking Cafe. There is a lift gate at the entrance to the peninsula, and you won't be able to get in without a ticket. This place has some of the most spectacular beauty in all of Iceland and shouldn't be missed. The entrance fee that you will pay at the Viking Cafe will not only allow you to see Vesturhorn, it will also give you access to the abandoned Viking Village movie set right next door. A short, easy walk will take you to the village, and then you're free to explore. The village was constructed back in 2010 for a movie that never came to fruition, and it's really unique and super cool to walk around. For day 4 and 5, I recommend staying somewhere between the glacier lagoons and the town of Hup for the best location. Since this area is so remote, accommodations get booked up extremely early, and if you wait until the last minute, prices are very expensive. I know from experience that you should please prepare this part of your trip in advance to ensure that you have a place to stay. Welcome to day 6, where we are going to be exploring the rugged and remote East Fjords. This is such an underrated part of Iceland, and day 6 is going to consist of a lot of driving, but the views are totally worth it. Please make sure to always drive the speed limit no matter where you are in Iceland. This is for your own safety, and the tickets are very expensive. Our first stop is this bright orange lighthouse just off the Ring Road. It welcomes you to the East Fjords, and it boasts impressive scenery, including black sand beaches that aren't overpopulated and wonderful views of the beautiful mountain behind it. Next up, we will visit Seyðisfjörður, which is one of the most charming towns in all of Iceland. This is a community of artists inspired by their town and the natural surroundings of the fjord. The highlight of Seyðisfjörður is the pale blue church and the signature rainbow pathway that leads up to it. This is truly East Fjords' charm at its best. Our final stop of the day is a beautiful waterfall hike. Now, as I mentioned before, the East Fjords are quite extensive to drive, so depending on how long your morning took, you may choose to only visit Seyðisfjörður or Hengifoss. Hengifoss is a stunning 420-foot waterfall that takes 3 miles round trip to visit and is a moderately difficult hike. Day 7 of this itinerary is going to usher in our North Iceland exploration. This area is filled with unique and incredible things to do that you won't want to miss. Your first stop of the day is to explore the most powerful waterfall in all of Europe. I am not kidding when I tell you, you have not seen true power until you've stood beside Ditafoss waterfall and watched the sheer force of the thundering glacier water plunging over the edge. Now, it's possible to reach Ditafoss from both the east and the west sides, though you'll find yourself at entirely different viewpoints. Next up, we will visit Viti Crater, which is located in the Krafla volcanic region. Once you arrive, I highly recommend walking along the rim where you can view the center of the crater, which is filled with brilliant blue lake water that contrasts with the brown and orange tones of the surrounding area. Up next, we're heading just down the road to something called Mývatn Nature Baths. Now, if you're looking for an alternative to the Blue Lagoon, this is it. This is a great way to relax after a long day of driving and the perfect place to grab some lunch and spend the afternoon or evening. End the day at Godafoss Waterfall, which is one of Iceland's best. Godafoss stretches before you in a half circle, and its name translates to Waterfall of the Gods. There are plenty of spots to view this waterfall on either side. Because it spans such a wide distance, it's hard not to get an exceptional viewing angle from wherever you are. For day 6, which was your East Fjords day, and day 7, I highly recommend staying somewhere between Ditafoss and Godafoss. Now, yes, this will add some extra driving to the end of day 6, but it also means that you don't have to move accommodations every night. Today, for day 8, we are going to continue our exploration of North Iceland and proceed towards West Iceland. We're going to start the day with 2 options. One will include the need for a 4x4, while the other does not require one. If you do not have a 4x4, I highly recommend visiting the cute small town of Húsavík to go on a whale watching tour. Húsavík is world famous for whales, and sometimes you can even spot them from town. I'm going to drop my whale watching tour recommendation in the description below. If you do have a 4x4 and are ready for adventure, head to Aldjarfoss instead. This epic waterfall is located up in the Highlands and is a more remote location that requires driving on an F-road. Though it's only a 65-foot drop, it is surrounded by basalt and falls into pristine water and a basalt canyon. Your second stop is to explore the town of Akureyri, which is one of the larger towns in Iceland. This is a great place to stop for something to eat. Continuing west along Route 1, our final stop of the day is going to be Vitzikur, which is a unique sea stack found along the beaches of North Iceland. This formation is also known as Rhino Rock, and it really does resemble a rhino standing along the shore. For the night of day 8, I recommend staying somewhere along the west coast that is past Rhino Rock. If you choose, you may continue your driving and spend the night closer to the southwest coast so you are more conveniently located for tomorrow. For day 9, you'll spend the morning driving the beautiful western half of the Ring Road until you make it to the incredible Snaefellsnes Peninsula. Now, how long you drive today depends on how much you did last night at the end of your North Iceland visit. Your first stop on the Snaefellsnes Peninsula is going to be Kirkjafell. This is another one of Iceland's iconic landmarks that you might have seen before because it's very easily recognizable. Kirkjafell and Kirkjafellafoss, the waterfall you see in the foreground, can be visited at any time of year and are very easy to get to. Next up, we're going to visit Budir Church, which is one of my favorite places in Iceland for moody photographs. This is a black church surrounded by an amazingly dramatic landscape. The church was built in 1703 and stands alone in relative isolation within a small village. For stop 3, we're heading to Arnastapi, which is home to a beautiful cliff walk and a spectacular sea arch. This area has an abundance of natural beauty that can be explored at whatever pace you choose. Finally, visit Londrongur, which is a stunning coastal area located right next to where you currently are. It is also home to many seabirds, including puffins, and watch out because it can get very windy. For day 9, you can choose to stay somewhere along the Snaefellsnes Peninsula, or you can drive 2 more hours and spend the final 2 nights of your trip in Reykjavík. For your final day in Iceland, we are going on one last hike before we head back to explore Reykjavík. On your way back east from the Snaefellsnes Peninsula, I highly recommend stopping at Glimmer Waterfall, which is one of the highest waterfalls in all of Iceland. Now, it takes around 3.5 hours for this hike, but the views at the end are truly spectacular. Next up, you're going to spend the afternoon exploring Reykjavík. This is a great place to get some souvenir shopping done, and there are lots of shops and restaurants here, including this famous hot dog stand. Don't forget to visit the iconic Sun Voyager sculpture for some photos on your trip. I also love walking around this beautiful church located in the heart of the city. Now, I personally do not recommend spending too much time in Reykjavík, as I truly believe that the beauty of Iceland lies outside of the city, as you've seen on this itinerary. End your last day in Iceland with a soak in one of the 2 famous lagoons in Reykjavík. I know the Blue Lagoon is touristy, but it's famous for a good reason, absolutely iconic, and the water really is this blue. If you want to see more, I have a whole video on this channel going through all of the best things to do at the Blue Lagoon so you can be prepared before you go. As an alternative to the Blue Lagoon, you may want to visit the Sky Lagoon. This is a newer lagoon. It doesn't have the blue water, but it does have this incredible 7-step spa ritual. I really cannot choose which lagoon is my favorite, and if you have the time, you can totally do both. The views from the Sky Lagoon are really stunning, and both lagoons are a great option. Now, if you want to visit either lagoon, please make sure to book your reservation online in advance. They both book up very quickly. For your final night in Iceland, I recommend staying somewhere in the Reykjavík area or on the Reykjanes Peninsula near Keflavik Airport. And there you have it, 10 unforgettable days in Iceland, perfectly planned for first-time visitors. From the stunning waterfalls on the south coast, remote canyons, and dazzling black sand beaches, this itinerary truly has it all. I hope this video has inspired you to book that ticket and start your Icelandic adventure. If you have any questions or tips of your own, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time.